My father came in 1947 and the rest of the family in 1950 because my father wanted me and my brother to finish our Cambridge in Bombay before coming here. I was horrible in math. I still am very weak in math. And once I remember in Bombay at St. Anne's, during the maths period, I made up a theorem between the maths teacher and the art master. And we were passing it around the class and I got caught. And then my parents were sent for. I'll never forget that experience. And you know, this convent of Jesus and Mary nuns, they are very, very strict. And I promised I would never do that again. And I never, ever did it again. Because I was bored with math. When I had first started teaching in 1954, after graduating from St. Joseph's, the Dutch bishop gave me a scholarship to Canada. And I did my MA in literature in Canada. In 1956, I went and came back in 1957. After I graduated, like all people of the Goan community, the girls I mean, we took to teaching. Some of us went to St. Patrick's, some went to St. Joseph's, some went to Convent of Jesus and Mary, and some went to Karachi Grammar. Those were the main schools at that time. Most of the good schools were manned by Goan female teachers. My parents wanted me, like my family, to become a doctor. My mom's side were all doctors, but I said, no, I want to be a teacher. Why did I want to go into teaching? I didn't realize at that time that I love interacting with children. It's a wonderful relationship. So after graduating, I joined St. Patrick's. Father Stephen Raymond was the principal. Why I joined St. Patrick's, I think I must have been drawn towards boys. All my life I'd been in a convent school. When I first joined, I was teaching the metric section, 7th class. I used to teach all the subjects except Urdu. At that time, I don't think they were teaching Islamiyat. When I was doing my teacher training, and I was giving my examination lesson at the finals, and there was I giving this science lesson. I'm an English teacher. We had to give different lessons. And I gave it on the flame of the forest. I gave it on that, I remember. And throughout the lesson, I was smiling, etc. So one of the examiners said to Father Raymond, your teacher is very happy to give this lesson. She's not at all nervous. And afterwards, he came quietly and told me, I knew when you smile, that means you're nervous. They didn't know that. I automatically smile when I'm nervous. My very first teacher's lesson on English literature proved a disaster. And the supervisor wrote the comment, are you teaching astronomy, history, geography, or literature? I was devastated. That's when I went crying to Father Raymond. What is this? I worked tooth and nail to give a good lesson. But he said, be grateful he has criticized you. Now you know where you're going wrong. I was going too much into everything instead of keeping the literature part of it alive. I learned. Except in the higher classes, there were male teachers. And sciences, usually there were male teachers in the senior classes. The salary was so very, very pathetic. Believe you me, I used to earn 420 rupees a month. In the meantime, I did a course in shorthand and typing because I didn't come from a wealthy family. It was difficult to make ends meet. And then one of my friends asked me during the holidays to stand in for her as a secretary. And so I did well with him and he offered me a permanent job. I agreed and put in my resignation. Father Raymond was very disappointed, but he didn't say anything. And then I worked 1 month and I handed in my resignation there and said, no, this is not for me. It was very monotonous. No reaction with children or anything like that. So I came back with my tail between my legs to Father Raymond. He says, I knew you would come. So I didn't even keep your resignation. I tore it up. Father Raymond was the most charismatic human being I have ever met. If at all I'm a teacher today with some ability, I owe it to that man. He used to run a club for all of us to go back to school in the evening and play netball or table tennis or badminton, and he joined us. He never failed to visit every single member of the staff on his or her birthday. No matter you're rich, no matter you're poor, he was there at your home. There's a vast difference between the children I taught when I first started teaching. They related with me and with the other teachers so lovingly. and enjoyed whatever work we did with them. There was respect for the teaching community. I'll give you an example, and this is not so very long ago. When I was headmistress, children usually used to come to me and tell me this problem or that problem, and even a family problem. And I would sit with them and discuss with them and think of ways by which I could sort out their problems. There was this one year when the class 10 children, they never came anywhere near me. So I walked into the class one day when there was no teacher and I said, "What's happened? How come you chaps have got no problems? Surely you must have some problem." And I asked a stupid question, "Am I a monster?" Pin drop silence. Who's going to call the headmistress a monster? Suddenly out of the silence, one voice, "Yes, miss." I was stunned. Now, I could have been nasty like a good number of teachers and said, "Out. You've disrespected me. I want to see your parents." I didn't do that. I smiled and said to him, "Sharia, you better have a very good essay of 500 words on my desk tomorrow morning proving me a monster. Then I'll forgive you." And believe you me, he wrote a hilarious composition proving to me I was a monster and also ending with, "But you have a heart of gold." But I learnt from what he wrote. I corrected my faults. I tended to be quite hard sometimes on children. But it's over the years that one mellows and learns to understand and encourage, not discourage. But I try to teach them, you compete with yourself. Okay, you're here, 48 on 100. Now, see what we can do to make it come to 58 and 68. It doesn't matter that boy comes first with 98. It should not bother you. That was very difficult to make children understand. Compete with yourself. I didn't compete with others. I never won a medal in my life. I've never been an outstanding student. I think that's why I make a very good teacher. I understand their problems. I retired in 2006 and I was about 15 years headmistress. They were difficult children, okay? It's not that everything was hunky-dory. I had some really, really difficult students. Because we have the class 6 admission test, I take children from all spheres, all schools. Sometimes I used to take them even though they failed in the test because of just some feeling in me because of the interview. One of them who failed that test today is in Oxford. And I remember one particular case, a boy, brilliant child. He worked up and then his father lost his job. So the father came to me with tears in his eyes and said, "Mrs. Henderson, I have to take Salah out of school." I said, "I beg your pardon?" He said, "I can't afford to pay these fees." So I said, "Of course not. You're not removing this boy." He was in class 10 or 11. And I said, "Give me a few days." And I went and spoke to Father Paul. He was a principal at the time. And I said, "See, Father, I can't afford to miss out on this child. He's such a wonderful boy." And I managed to get him the free ship. I never looked back on that incident because today he is in Yale University on a full scholarship. For me, a teacher is one who just doesn't teach his or her subject, but brings out qualities in the children, creativity in the children to make them better human beings. Like, I remember one boy, Junaid was in class 11, and the accounts teacher told him, "You better give up accounts, you're never going to get an A." So Junaid came to me, "Mrs. Henderson, I'd like to give up accounts." And I said, "Oh no, why are you doing that? Why don't you accept the challenge he's given you?" He says, "You can't get an A, you prove you can get an A." And he got that A. And then years later, he was in University of Texas, Austin. He wrote a lovely, lovely email to me telling me that was the moment he changed. That for me is what a teacher should be. Though I had many disappointing experiences in the start, I think I've ended up being a very good teacher, even if I say so myself.